Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing fine. Uh, Tom, are you there? All right, I guess not. Uh, Jasmine, I'm sorry you got to be in the hot seat again. Another week and you'll be relieved a little bit. Uh,
Yeah.
Nothing personal, just me and you here. I got to talk to somebody. Uh, so don't think I'm trying to pick on you or nothing, please. So, uh, I need to tell you something. Uh, my cousin's wife died yesterday morning, and I should have said this yesterday in class. I didn't. Um, and they live in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm pretty close to them. Anyway, I don't know when the funeral arrangements are. It's either going to be Friday or Saturday. If it's Friday, I may or may not be here tomorrow because it's going to take about an 8 hour haul up there. But if it's Saturday, I'll be here. Uh, I hope to find out more today. They're going to make arrangements today. And I will let Tom know as soon as I know something. Or if I'm not going to be here, I'll call Tom and let him know so he can get out, get in touch with you, or I'll send you an email. Okay? Or
Okay.
well, actually, it won't be this class. It'll be the HR class. So I need you and Aaron and Keith. So, um, but I may. I'm just kind of giving you a heads up. I should have told you guys yesterday, uh, but I didn't. Uh, and I'm sorry for my not saying that because I didn't know. I knew about it right before I found out right before I came into class yesterday morning, and just kind of try to stick it out of my mind, deal with that later. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. But if we don't have class, I'll send Tom an email, or I'll send you guys out an email, letting you know that we won't have class. So just plan on being here unless you get an email from me
Okay.
regarding that for the HR class. All right. So do you have? We've talked about the stages of production, and we talked about the nutrient requirements in those different stages. We talked about the importance of body condition and uh, how to body condition cows. We watch those videos and the importance of body condition, how it relates to reproductive efficiency or those cows getting bred back after calving. Uh, Other species of animals, I don't know how that body condition affects reproduction rates. In sheep and goats, I think that it does. Uh, my understanding is that it does. Uh, Pigs, I think it does. Horses, I'm not quite so sure about uh, because my experience, if it's good. You have a horse. Real fat animals have a hard time conceiving, and real skinny animals have a hard time conceiving. Uh, so I'd say it does affect that as well. Uh, when they're too fat, they just don't conceive very well as being too skinny. So it does play a part in reproduction of all animals. So we don't want to overfeed our animals. It just costs us money. Uh, but in but at the same time, it costs us a lot of money if they're too skinny. So that's important. So the other thing, I told you today we'd go over balancing rations so you can get started. I will give you a homework assignment. I don't have it made up right now. So I got to make one up and put it up here for you to practice on. I can either do that or I can have you turn in about a ration, balancing one of your rations for your project. What would you prefer?
Um, I think the homework assignment one would be better to make sure I know what I'm doing.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Okay, can I play devil's advocate with you?
Okay.
And then if you change your mind, let me know. If you balance for your homework one ration for your cows, say like you're going about if you're having a spring calving herd, right? And
Yes.
say you balance the ration for your cows the first 3 months after calving because you're going to be feeding them at that point. Okay, uh, that's one of your rations balance that you've got to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you'll send that in to me, and I'll check it and let you know yay or nay. Does that make sense? So in a
Yes.
way, your homework assignment, you're still going to try to figure out what you got to do, and it'll just count as a homework assignment, but it will be pertaining particular to your situation for your project, and that's
Okay.
one less ration, or you'll have that one ration out of the way. You'll just have to do it.
Okay.
Does that make
That'll work.
sense?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to just try to give you busy work. I want to try to make it useful and a learning experience. Now, uh, I can, you know, I can do this. The one, let me ask you this. We can do this, do the one in that I have on Blackboard with this. Let me show you. Uh, I can do this one, okay, that's on Blackboard. And, that, it's in the first folder, January 9th folder under Pearson Square. Or, and I came prepared to do that one for you. Uh, but then it just hit me just now. If I do that one for you, I mean, you can read, right? You can
Yes.
read that and you can follow along and work along with it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I
And
may be better off. Huh?
isn't that the one we did in animal science?
That's the same one we did in animal science. So it's
Okay.
kind of like I'm beating a dead horse, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you have any problems if we did a different
No, I think that would be better.
one? All right. Well, let's pick. You're here. I'm going to reward you. I'm not trying to punish the online people online. I know Aaron's working and Evan's working and the other online students. But let's go. Let's do one of your rations. Okay?
Okay.
I'll help you get one of yours done for your project. Now, you're going to have to take close notes because I don't know how well this will show up on the screen, on the recording. All right, so I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to be in the hot seat real hard right now, okay? It's going to get real hot because you're going to have to come up with some answers for your project really quick. You have a spring calving herd, right?
Yes.
You're going to calve in March? Yay or nay?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So we know in March there's not much grass left, and you're going to be feeding them hay and a grain supplement, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got a spring calving herd, 0 to 3 months after calving. Now, you're going to have to answer some more questions. Is that showing up on the screen? No, it's not. You agree with that?
Yes.
You've seen that? Okay, now, there's some more information we need to know about your cows. 0 to 3 months after calving. How much do they weigh? How big do you want your cows to be? 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds, 1,400 pounds?
I guess 1,200.
Okay, 1,200 pound cow. Do you want them to produce a lot of milk, medium amount of milk, or low on milk production?
Um, Low amount, I guess.
Okay,
I don't know.
now, okay, well that's fine. Now, let me explain a little bit about milk production in beef cows. All right. Um, Let me get up to a 1,200 pound cow. Here we go. 1,200 pound mature weight. This first column is months after calving. Okay. Uh, so low milk production is going to be about approximately 10 pounds a day. Beef cows is not known for their milk production like dairy cows. They're going to produce enough milk to raise that calf. And that calf's weight that you sell or at weaning time is heavily influenced by her milk production. Milk production in beef cows is a double-edged sword, right? The heavier those calves weigh, the more money you hope to gain from a heavier calf at weaning time. But if you have too much milk production and you're feeding that cow, it could cost you more. You're feeding a whole, it could cost you more money than what it's worth. So it's a double-edged sword. So if you want a heavy milk producing cow, you need to have a lot of forages. If you don't have a lot of forages, then you're probably looking at a low milk producing cow. Say you're running in Nevada where it takes about 600 acres per cow calf pair. You probably don't want a heavy milking cow. She's not going to get bred back because she's not going to have enough milk, food for her milk, and the last thing she's worried about is getting bred back. So I would probably, you're in Virginia, we have pretty good forages. But I would probably err on the side of caution and go this medium milk production deal. Okay?
Okay.
So what I would do for your project, I would go a 1,200 pound mature weight, 20 pound milk production. Uh, First 3 months after calving, and I would just do that for. I would just balance it on that first month instead of coming up with 3 months, three different ones. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Well, actually, I do it the second month because that's going to be the highest nutrient requirements, because that's when she's hitting. She's going to hit peak milk production between, around 6 weeks after calving. So that's when that's when it's going to be the highest. So I would balance for the second month after calving, uh, and feed her that the first 3 months. So, uh, so what I'll need to know on that cow, we know what we're feeding. We'll do 2 months after calving, just so we know we've got. If we can meet that, that's where our highest requirements are. So if we meet that, we're going to be okay for the rest of it. All right. So what we're going to need to know for this cow, that's their, you know, that's what we're going to be feeding. What we need to know is dry matter intake. We need to know TDN percent, what percent of her ration needs to be energy, and we need to know what percent of her ration needs to be protein. Okay?
Okay.
So, your next step is you're going to have to find these nutrient requirements. So, again, this is on Blackboard. This nutrient requirement tables. It's under that January 9th week, okay? So you'll open that up, scroll down here. Okay. Nutrient requirements of mature beef cows to maintain moderate body condition. We're going to assume our cows are in good body condition, okay? We're at 1,100 pounds. Keep going down here. 1,200 pounds. We decided to go moderate milk production, so we're going to hit the 20-pound milk production range. This first column is months after calving. It'll give you the first 6 months after calving, their nutrient requirements. So we're going to balance on that second month. You can see here that's going to be the highest requirements right here, with TDN and protein. So we'll be fine. We may be a little bit overfeeding them the first and third month, but it'll be okay. It's not a significant amount, and I'd rather err on the caution and overfeed them a little bit, because this is a critical period, their highest requirements, right? So,
Yes.
scroll up here, milk, dry matter, energy, and crude protein. First column, 2, 3, 4, fourth over. Okay. So, back down here, 1,200 pound cow, second month, dry matter intake, 24.9 pounds. We just call it 25 pounds. Okay. Uh, TDN is 56%. And, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. See how easy this is to get messed up? 20-pound meat. peak milk production. Dry matter intake, I'm sorry, is 27.8 pounds. Energy is 59.9% TDN, and crude protein is 10.7%. Okay? Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, the next thing we're going to have to figure out is we're going to have to figure out what we're feeding them. All right, let me put it on the document cam because I got this wrote down for you. Okay. What are you planning on feeding your cows? Alfalfa hay?
I guess I have no idea really, but
Okay.
um.
Alfalfa, you're probably not going to feed them. Okay.
Okay.
Reality, you're going to be feeding them fescue hay because that's what you got a lot of. Okay.
Okay.
And in reality, as bad as I hate to say this, unless are you going to put up your own hay, or are you going to get some, or are you going to buy it?
Buy it.
Okay. Do you think they're going to put it up good, or you're going to put it up a little bit late? You think it'll be
Can you
cut
repeat
when it's
that?
supposed to be cut, or you think it'll be cut when they want to cut it?
I think it'll be cut when it's supposed to be cut.
I hope you're right. It's hard to get people cut hay when it's supposed to be cut, especially if it's first cut. Okay, but let's just assume you buy good quality hay. All right, so if we look on this feed composition tables I showed you the other day, and scroll down here to fescue hay, Kentucky 31. See where I'm looking? And we will
No, it's still
huh?
on the document, Cam. It's still on the
Okay,
document,
thank
Cam.
you. Fescue hay, Kentucky 31, early bloom. Okay. It's going to be 88%. Our hay, we're looking at, I want to see this together. So our hay, fescue hay, early bloom. Uh, Dry matter is 88%. TDN is 65%. And crude protein, that can't be right. It's saying 18%. That's awful high. All right, we'll use it because that's what it says. No, yeah, it does say that. You see it right here? Oops.
Yes.
Kentucky 31, 88%, 65%. TDN, 18% crude protein. That's pretty high. I don't think it's going to be that high personally. I think it's going to be about 12.
Okay.
Do you want to use 12 or you want to use that figure? Because I don't think it's going to be 15%.
I guess we can use 12.
Let's use 12. I think that's going to be more reasonable, to be honest with you. If it has some clover in it, it may be closer to 15. But I just don't see how early bloom is going to be 18%. That's alfalfa figures right there. Um, but anyway, we'll go with 12% instead of 18. Now, just looking at your cow's requirements, dry matter intake 27.8 pounds, TDN 60% almost, and crude protein 10.7%. Taking a look, just taking a look right here with what your hay contains, nutrient requirements. Do you think you can meet those requirements just on hay?
Yes.
I think you may be right. Okay? So let's try it. Okay?
Okay.
Now, here's what I would do. Uh, if we go back over here to our nutrient requirement tables for our cow, our 1,200 pound cow, 20 pounds, if we're looking at percentages, diet nutrient density percentages. Let's go over here to daily nutrients per animal. That's listed in pounds. Okay. So if we look at it, I'm afraid I'm going to get you confused here. But if you look at it poundage wise for that cow, dry matter intake is going to be the same, right? At 27.8 pounds.
Yes.
Her energy requirements is going to be 15.9 pounds. And her protein requirements, let me see which one protein is. I think it says 2.88. Yep, 2.88. Wait a minute, I'm on the wrong cow. Sorry. All right. Energy requirements. It's easy to get confused on these charts. That's on 1,100 pounds. Back to 1,200 pounds. 16.7 pounds. I'm sorry. 16.7 pounds. Crude protein is 2.97 pounds. Basically 3 pounds of protein, 17 pounds of energy. All right. So let's just do some quick math here to see if this is going to contain it. So if she eats 20, I've got to work through this on my head, okay? So bear with me. If she eats 27.8 pounds of hay a day, right? If this cow eats 27 pounds of hay a day, this hay is the hay's 65% energy. How many pounds is she eating? Or how many pounds of energy is she obtaining? You understand what I'm asking?
Not really.
Okay, her dry matter intake, this cow's dry matter intake is 27.8 pounds. That's how many pounds of dry matter she's going to eat, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're just going to test to see if this hay, because we've got high quality hay, right?
Yes.
We cut alfalfa, early cut, fescue hay is good hay. We've got 65, it contains 65% energy, 12% protein. Probably got some clovers in there with it, okay? Typically it doesn't run that high. The numbers I told you to use. So I'm just seeing if the hay will meet her requirements if we have to buy anything extra. So if the cow's going to eat 27.8 pounds of hay on a dry matter basis, and that hay contains 65% energy or 65% TDN, let's see how many pounds of energy or how many pounds of TDN she's eating. So we take 28 or 27.8 pounds and we multiply that by 65% or 0.65. That comes up with 18 pounds, 18.07 pounds of TDN. Okay? She requires 16.7. Are we meeting her energy requirements with that hay?
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
Okay. In fact, we're exceeding them. Okay. The 27.8 pounds. Well, let's check protein. Okay, she's eating 27.8 pounds of protein, or 27.8 pounds of hay, and the hay is 12% crude protein. Let's multiply that together. 27.8 times 0.12. That comes up to 3.3 pounds of protein that she's eating a day. So are we meeting our requirements if we give her 27, 28
Yes.
pounds of hay a day?
Yes.
Yeah, we're exceeding her requirements. So we know we don't have to feed any corn, right?
Yes.
So if you give her on a dry matter basis, that you're going to be meeting her requirements. In fact, you're going to be exceeding them. So what I would do at this point, I would err on caution to make sure that's going to get done and just leave that the way it is. I would convert my hay to an as-fed basis. Okay. We're feeding 27.8 pounds of dry matter, and the hay is 88% dry matter, right? So we've got to convert it to an as-fed basis. So we can take 27.8 and divide it by 0.88, and we get 31.6 pounds of hay as fed. Now that's what I would do. I'd err on the side of caution and overfeed them a little bit. I know it's costing me some money, but if you wanted to get nitpicky, you can figure out. You can keep playing with this and figure out how many pounds, how much hay you actually need in order to meet that 16 pounds. So we could, let's just, you know, you could try 25 times 0.65. Okay, if you cut back to 25 pounds of hay, you're not going to meet it. You're still going to be short. 26 pounds of hay. All right, so if you cut it back to 26 pounds of hay, you'll meet the energy requirements. And you'll still meet protein. So you could, and I just did that by, I did 25 pounds, multiplied it by 65% TDN, I was short energy. So then I went 26 pounds, multiplied it by 65% energy, TDN, and it met my energy requirements. And then, so then I did it, then I multiplied 65 or 26 pounds for 12% crude protein, and I meet my protein requirements at 3.1 pounds. So we can feed this cow 26 pounds of hay, of dry matter hay, and meet her requirements at TDN is going to be uh, it came up to 16.9 pounds, and crude protein came in at 3.1 pounds. So, you know, that's pretty close to what she requires, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you wanted to get real close on that, you can back off to 26 pounds of hay. So if you did 26 pounds of dry matter divided by 0.88 dry matter, or 88% dry matter on your hay, that comes up to be 29.5 pounds of hay a day as fed. So that's a pound less, or 2 pounds less. You know, when you're sitting out there rolling hay out with a tractor, you're really not going to sit there and weigh every single, you know, multiply that by 100 cows. You know what I mean? You going to guess?
Yes.
So in your situation, if you did the 26 pounds of hay, or you did the whole 27.8 pounds of hay, I'd let it go. I'd count it as okay. Because I'd want to make sure that's your highest nutrient requirements. And in reality, you're going to have cows that are easy keepers, or, you know, it's kind of like people. You know, you can have people that look at a donut and they get fat, and you can have people that can eat 100 donuts and it won't affect them a bit. You know, cows are the same way. So you're going to have in that group of cows some cows that will keep weight on, gain weight and keep weight on real easy, and other cows it's going to be hard to keep weight on. So I'd just probably feed them 31 pounds of that good quality hay and let it go. As long as you got good quality hay, you can get by. If that's meeting that in that first 3 months, you know it's going to meet it those 9 to 12 months after calving, right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So if we look here, if we go on down here, 1,200 pound uh, cow, 9 to 12 months after calving, that last trimester, here she's eating 26, 25 pounds of hay. Her energy requirements are 56% PDN. Well, that's a whole, that's 3%, a 4% difference there. And her protein requirements drops down to 8.8%, 2%. You can get by if you get that good quality hay. You just figure out how much hay you have to feed them. From whenever your grass runs out, say like October, November through April. You're just going to change up the amount of hay you're going to feed them. You got it easy. You got that good quality hay. So let's change it around a little bit. All right, because I want to work through a Pearson square for these other students. They may not have it that easy. Or if you can't buy good quality hay in real life, okay? That's ideal, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, Jasmine. That is ideal. If you can get by just feeding your cows hay and not have to supplement grain or a protein supplementation, man, you've hit the jackpot, honey. Real life, unfortunately, isn't going to be like that. Okay? So it's going to be very important for you and for everybody to get their feed analyzed. Take samples of your hay. It costs about $15, and borrow the core sampler from your county extension agent. Put it on an cordless electric drill, and go in there and take samples of that hay and send it off and get it analyzed. So you know what you're feeding those cows. And I can guarantee you this, more than likely, you're not going to have fescue hay with those numbers. That's tough to get. That's going to be more like orchard grass or alfalfa. So reality and what these numbers say, these tables of the averages across the country are two different things. Okay? Typically, your hay, fescue hay, is only going to be about 52% energy and about 10% protein. You want to work through that example and change the quality of hay?
Okay.
All right. So if we change our hay right here, our fescue hay to mature, okay, dry matter again is 88%. PDN is about 52%, and crude protein is about 10%. That paper says 11%. My history says it's 10%. As long as it's reasonable, I don't care what number you use. That's real life numbers right there, okay? And 11% is going to be real life numbers because you're probably going to have some clovers in there as well, and that'll bump it up, or at least in my part of the country. So we know, looking at this cow's requirements, We know that's not going to work, right?
Yes.
Her energy requirements higher than the energy content of the hay, and her protein requirements higher than the protein content of the hay, right?
Right.
Do you think cracked corn is going to help us out with this deal? If we fed corn as a supplement,
Yes.
it'll help us out with energy, but we'll probably still be short on protein. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what a lot of farmers do in this area, they feed corn gluten. It's a byproduct of corn. Or they'll buy a mix, a three-way mix of corn gluten, soy hulls, and cracked corn. Okay? So that's real life. Now, do you think you're going to go buy, when you go looking at a supplement, you know you're going to need energy and you're going to need protein. And corn gluten is cheaper than corn. The cows don't like it as much, but they'll eat it. Uh, and or you can feed that three-way mix of corn gluten, soybean, and cracked corn. So what do you think you would do? Because you can go over there to Aaron, where Aaron works, and say, Aaron, I want some three-way mix for my cows. And they'll bag you up some or bring you a truckload or bring you a few tons if you have storage for them.
Yeah, I would probably go with that.
Three-way mix?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to get a little complicated, all right? So we're going to have to, since we don't know what the nutrient analysis is on that, we're going to have to do some math of corn gluten, soybean hulls, and cracked corn. So let's just take a look here back to our nutrient tables or nutrient components of feed, and let's find some of these. Let's go up here to cracked corn. Cracked corn is going to be just like corn. It's just going to be cracked, maybe a little bit higher energy because it's a little bit easier to be assessed. So we'll scroll down here to corn. Let's see if they got cracked corn. All right, they don't have cracked corn. All right, so it's just corn we'll use since we don't have anything with cracked corn. All right, we'll just go whole corn and pretend because it's going to be pretty much the same. Uh, all right, so whole corn, we'll just call it cracked corn. Cracked corn is whole corn, but it's cracked, and it makes it easier to digest because it's that hard shell around the corn's open, and they can get to those starches easily. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
But it's still going to be pretty much the same nutrient content. So dry matter percent, TDN, and crude protein. Cracked corn is going to be 88% dry matter. For whole corn, 88% TDN, it could go up to 90. Uh, and it's 9% protein. Okay. Now let's go with corn gluten. Uh, Most corn gluten you get around here is this corn gluten feed. Okay, it's around 22% protein. So it's 90% TDN. It is about 80%. I mean, 90% dry matter, about 80% TDN, and 22% crude protein. And then the soybean hulls. See where I'm looking here? Corn gluten feed, 90% TDN, 90% dry matter, 80% TDN.
Yes.
Look up here. Here's your deal. Dry matter, TDN, crude protein. So let's run down here to soy hulls. And soy hulls is just the hull off the soybean. All right. It's 90% dry matter, 77% TDN, and 13% crude protein. Now, typically when they mix this, they mix 1/3 of each ingredient. So if you're buying a ton, if you buy 300, say, let's go to 300 pounds. So say if you buy 300 pounds of this mixture, it's going to be 100 pounds of each ingredient. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do, we're going to take the average for this class. So let's just do averages to begin with. So we can go 88 plus 90 plus 90 divided by 3. So on average, that's going to be about 89% dry matter. TDN, we go 88 plus 80. Oops, I'm sorry. Tell me to swap screens again. 88 plus 80 plus 77 divided by 3. And I did something wrong. Okay. 88 plus 80 plus 77 divided by 3 comes up to be 81.6% TDN on average. And crude protein, 9 plus 22 plus 13 divided by 3 is 14.6% crude protein on average. Okay. These are the numbers we're going to use for a three-way mix. Understand how I got it?
Yes.
So, let's set up the Pearson square. We're going to balance for energy, right? You agree?
Yes.
Always balance for energy first. What goes in the middle of our square?
59.9%.
That's correct. 59.9%. Our hay, put on the top corner, and our hay is 32%. Our three-way mix is 81.6%. What do we do next? Do you remember?
Subtract diagonally.
So 59.9 minus 52 equals 7.9, and 81.6 minus 59.9 equals 21.7. What do we do next? I'm going fast. I'm probably getting confused, right?
You add those together.
That's right. We add them together. So 21.7 plus 7.9 equals, correct?
Yes.
Now we got to put it into a percentage, right? So we're going to divide each of these numbers by 29.9. So we take 21.7 divided by 29.6. That comes up to be 0.73 or 73.3%. Hey, right? 9 divided by 29.6 is 0.266 or 26.6% three-way mix. Check to make sure that is correct to this point. We can just add 26.6 plus 73.3, and that should give us close to 100%, depending on round. And you add those numbers together, it comes up to 100%. So we should be balanced for energy at this point. Our ration should contain 73.3% hay, 26.6% three-way mix. So let's put that in pounds of dry matter, right, to find out how many pounds we're feeding. So we take 27.8 pounds of dry matter intake and multiply that, this is the hay, by 73.3%, and that comes up to be 20.34 pounds of hay on a dry matter basis. Is that what you got?
How did you get that again?
Took 27.8 pounds of dry matter intake that she eats, or will take on a dry matter basis, and I multiplied that by 73.3% because that's the percentage of hay is in the ration. What did
Okay.
you?
Okay, I got that.
Okay, so we do the same thing with the three-way mix. We take 27.7 dry matter intake, and we multiply that by 6.6 for the three-way mix. And or you subtract times 30. 7.3 plus 27.4, pretty close to 27.1. There's our second double check. Right. It comes up pretty close to 27.7. Right. That's it down there. So, the balance for energy, we're balanced. We can feed 20.34 pounds of hay and 7.39 pounds of the three-way mix. And we're good with energy. Do we meet our protein requirements?
Yes.
Well, we don't know. We got to figure it out, right? So, that on Blackboard does it one way. I do it a different way, okay? Let me show you how I do it. My way, I think, is easier, okay? If I know I'm feeding 20.34 pounds of hay, the dry matter hay, right? I know I'm feeding 20.34 pounds of hay, and my hay contains, what did I say our hay contains? 10% crude protein?
Yes.
Okay, so, 20.34 times 0.10 is 2.034 pounds of crude protein. And my three-way mix, I am feeding 7.39 pounds, and it is
14.6%. 14.6%.
14.6. So I take 7.39 pounds of our three-way mix and multiply that by 0.146. That comes up with 1.07 pounds of crude protein. Add those two numbers together. So 1.07 plus 2.034 is 3.11 pounds of crude protein from our ration. We go back, to our cow's nutrient requirements. We said that she needed, I'm trying to find it because I got everything all messed up now. Here we go. She needed 10.7% crude protein in her diet, right? Then we went over the next couple of columns, looked at it on the pounds, and it comes up to 2.97 pounds. Our ration contains 3.11 pounds. So we're okay with protein. So what we have to do now is convert to as fed. Let me find me another sheet of paper. All right, so we are feeding, our hay is, let's see, convert. So 20 point for hay, we're feeding 20.34 pounds dry matter, and our hay is our late bloom hay, 88% dry matter. We divide, right?
Yes.
So So we take 20.34 divided by 0.88% dry matter. Dry matters cancel out. And we come up with 23.11 pounds of hay as fair. And our three-way mix, we do the same thing. It is 7.39 pounds dry matter, and we said we just go with the averages on that. We said it averaged 89% dry matter, right? So 7.39 divided by 0.89 comes up to be 8.3 pounds as fair. Did you catch that as I was flying off that 90,000 miles an hour off the top of my
Yes.
head? I know right now, Evan is going, let me put it on me. Evan and Aaron are going, what did he do? Well, Evan's pretty sharp. He's had animal science. He's been through this. Did Aaron take animal science?
I think he took it online last semester.
He did too. Aaron, I flew through this, Aaron. I'm not picking on you. I know you're pretty sharp. You work pretty hard. You know, going to school, work part-time. It's not easy. I've done it. You may be going like this as well. Now, you other online students, if you did not have animal science, you're going, Meow. You ever see Jeff Dunham and his little peanut
Yes.
hen muff?
I love that show.
Meow, meow. What'd you do to Wayne? Meow. Guys, call me, okay? Read through that Arkansas extension publication on Pearson Square. Read it. Work through that problem. And look what I did here, because I flew through. I mean, I've done hundreds of these. It's easy for me, okay? And by the time you finish this project, it'll be easy for you. Now, I'm picking on Jasmine because she's the only one here that I can see. So, now if we look at Jasmine here, or I'll look at Jasmine, y'all just trust me, I see her on the screen. And we're using her as an example. All right, she's got a cow-calf herd that is calving in March. So, she's going to have to balance 4 rations, at least 4. We got the first 3 months after calving, 3 to 6 months after calving, 9 to 12, 6 to 9 months after calving, and 9 to 12 months after calving. Okay. Now she said she's going to use real good hay, and I showed her she can get by with real good hay if she can find it. But most people, you know, fescue hay gets put up in June. It's mature about the second, third week of June. It's already headed out. It's hard to get fescue hay up early because of the rain in the spring, because we really need to be cutting it in May to get that good a quality of fescue hay. So the second example I used was real life. You know, it's going to be about 52% energy, or 52% TDN, and about 10% protein. You know, and I know that from all the hundreds of samples of fescue hay that I've pulled and sent off. Some of it even goes down as low as 9 and 8%. So, and sometimes that TDN drops down to 50%. And so what happens when we have poor quality hay is that dry matter intake decreases. They're not going to be able to eat all that, especially those last 3 months before they calve, because that developing calf is taking up room in that abdomen, and their rumen cannot hold all that poor quality feed. They just can't get enough to eat, and they're not going to eat enough. I ran into that on my research project because we just fed hay. And what we found out, and we didn't try any special deal to get it up early like it should be. We just did it like typical ranchers do it. And we pulled samples. And our hay is about 90% dry matter, about 8 to 9% protein. I think it's about 8.5 or something. TDN was down around 50%. And my cows, they did not eat as much as we thought. And I know that because I did an intake study. We gave them a chromium bolus. We knew what output, how much chromium that bolus released every day. And so I went in there and I collected poop, stuck my arm up each individual cow. I had a couple hundred cows on project. And I took a fecal sample of each cow, and I analyzed it, and I worked backwards to figure out their intake. And they were not eating the 27 pounds. And so therefore, I was in an energy deficient state. I was in a protein deficient state. Because, we balanced their ration according to, their dry matter intake of what we thought it would be. And, and what we just did it the way most ranchers do it. We just gave them hay before they calved. Because that's just what people do. Then after calving, they change it around, right? Well, what happened was we fed them just like the ranchers feed them. And we were in a protein and energy deficient state and it was exacerbated because they didn't even eat as much as we thought we would, as much as we thought they would eat. And what happened? That affected their reproductive rates. We had pretty low numbers when it came to getting those cows rebred. After calving, I put half of them on a protein supplementation and half of them without protein supplementation. And it was interesting, the results we found. It wasn't what you would think. You would think the protein supplemented group would have had better reproduction rates, but they didn't. It was all screwed up because, our cows were losing weight prior to calving, and we were still in an energy deficient state even though we was feeding protein. So, what we say and what we do in, theory-wise and what happens in real life are sometimes two different things. Okay? Typically in real life, this second example I worked through with these numbers on fescue, that's real life. Most farmers don't feed corn. They usually feed corn gluten, or they feed a three-way mix or a two-way mix. Southern states and several other feed companies, and I'm not singling out Southern states. Typically that three-way mix is soy hulls, corn gluten, and cracked corn. At least that's what the Southern states here is. There's a couple other feed companies around, and their three-way mix is the same thing. Now, reality, you need to get a sample of that tested to see what the actual content is. For this purposes, we just used averages, okay? But in real life, you need to get your hay sample, you need to get your supplement sample, or have the company tell you what the energy and protein and dry matter content is, so you can get it, so you can balance your rations. But you need to realize that the quality of your feed is going to affect that dry matter intake, especially when you got pregnant cows, uh, because that rumen fill is decreased in that last trimester. And if the quality of the feeds if the quality's not good, they're not going to eat it. It's going to decrease the amount of feed they eat. Now, if you got really high quality feed, you can feed them less than their dry matter intake. Okay, it may be, if you've got alfalfa hay or something, you may be feeding them, 2/3 or 3/4 of what their dry matter intake would be. Uh, and so you're meeting their nutrient requirements, but they're still hungry. It's kind of like us when we eat a protein bar. We're out working, we don't want to stop for lunch, and we don't want to, but we need some energy, so we eat one of them cliff hanging bars or whatever they're called, or Gatorade bars. We're still hungry, right? It kind of satisfies us a little bit, but we're still hungry. It gives us our protein and some carbs that we need to carry on, but we're still hungry. And it's the way it is with those cows. So sometimes that's a good thing because, you still have forages out in your pasture and they go eat them. That's just extra stuff they're going to eat to put on weight because you're meeting their energy requirements. And if you don't have any forages, you may want to have good fences to keep them in because they may try to, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence and they're still hungry. Hey, I'm just saying, I've been there and I've done it. I know. Okay? We had these cows at Stewart's. We had 2 cows. I swear, these things would come in and eat with their cows, right? When we fed them, they'd eat their supplement and they'd go eat bales of hay. And then when their neighbor fed, they'd jump the fence and go over there and eat with his cows. And then the next day, sometime during the night, they would jump the fence and come back and eat with theirs in the morning when we fed. They just jump back and forth over the fence. And we fixed the fence, and they'd still jump, so we just loaded up those 2 cows and put them in another boundary with some other cows. They were still hungry, and they just jumped the fence and go eat with the neighbor's cows when he fed. It was kind of funny. He got pretty mad about that, by the way. But that's just life, guys. I'm just trying to tell you how it is. Now, what you decide to use on that, Jasmine's fine. But you are going to have those 4 rations to balance, okay? You're going to have bulls. Are you going to use bulls or are you going to AI everything?
I was thinking AI.
Okay. You're probably going to have cleanup bulls, okay? Because, you're probably
Can
going
you
to
repeat that?
have some bulls. Because
Okay.
even though you AI, not all your cows are going to conceive AI just due to technique, okay?
Okay.
You don't get 100% conception with AI very seldom. So you're probably going to have some bulls to turn out in with those cows. And we call those cleanup bulls because they clean up our mess from what we didn't get impregnated with artificial starch. So you need to balance rations for bulls. Okay?
Okay.
And are you going to raise your replacement heifers or are you going to buy them?
I guess buy them.
Okay. All right. So if she's going to buy replacement cattle, that's fine. So you're going to have 5 rations, one ration for each stage of production. Now, when you do your summer and they're out on grass, guys, just look here. All you got to do is just do the math that they're getting all their nutrients in grass. Okay, so you can just use this fescue hay or Kentucky 31 fresh and use those numbers to balance your ration or to show that it's meeting your energy and protein requirements. Okay. Now, if you are The other thing, the other ration she's going to have to balance are for her calves after weaning time. Okay, so when you pull your calves off your cows and you wean them before you sell them, because I assume you're going to be, you're going to wean them, you're going to vaccinate them and wean them before you sell them. So you'll be, you're going to be BQA, get BQA certified or have Virginia Beef Quality Insurance certification, so you have another marketing route. That's how I want you to approach this. You want to take advantage of all your additional marketing opportunities, and and get some extra money for doing that. So you are going to wean them for 45 or say 60 days, and you're going to want them to gain at least a pound and a half minimum, maybe 2 pounds a day. So if you have a 1,200-pound cow, those cows should be weaning half of their body weight. So your calves should weigh, your steer calf should weigh somewhere close to, should average about 600 pounds, and your heifer calves should weigh about 550.
Okay.
Reality, you're going to have some 7 weights, and you may have some down in the low fives. You may even have some in the fours. But hopefully you can, you'll be, you want a cow should wean off at least half her body weight. If she doesn't, you need to get rid of her. She's costing you money. Okay? That's just a simple production goal that she should pay her way. So, does that help you? So you're gonna have
Yes.
6 rations to balance for you, Jasmine.
Okay.
Now, other
Okay.
people, if you got a cow calf operation, you're gonna have those 6, and if you're developing your own heifers, you're gonna have about 2 more of those. 6, you're gonna have 7 to 8, because you got those heifers to develop to get bred prior to breeding, and then you got a 2-year-old heifer that's calving, and those requirements are even higher than a mature cow, because she's still growing, she's lactating, she's calving, she's lactating, and she's still growing. They're astronomically higher. Okay, so uh, you're gonna have 2, at least 2, maybe 3 more rations to balance for those 2-year-olds, for those virgin heifers and the 2-year-old cow after calving. So keep that in mind. You can't treat them like old cows, or if you do, they're not going to breed back for you. So actually, you're going to have 8. You're going to have 4 stages of production for your mature cows, and you're going to have those heifers developing a heifer to get the weight, the target weight of was it 66% of her mature weight before breeding, and then you're going to have her nutrient, do it over the summertime, and then prior to calving, those 3 months before she calves, you need a ration for it, and then a ration for the 2-year-old cow right after calving. So you need that ration as well. Then after that, we'll just assume, you're going to turn her out on grass, and she should be okay, and then she's going to be mature. So those 2-year-old cows, first calf heifers, they're a little bit, they're delicate. Jasmine, does that help you out?
Yes.
Okay, so for your homework assignments, I want you to balance one of your rations that you're required, that you're going to have to turn in for your project. So, Jasmine, we did one of yours, your first 3 months after calving. What I would recommend, Jasmine, I'd try to be more real life. So I would use that mature hay and that 3-way mix.
Okay.
All right. So, what you may want to turn into me now is going to be your summer grazing, or your your grazing for your 9 to, or your rationing for your 6 to 9 months after calving, uh, or your ration for those last 3 months prior to calving, 9 to 12 months. Whichever one you want to turn in for your homework assignment, but I would use that three-way mix and that mature fescue because that's going to
Okay.
be more real life. And I made it easier for you. We got one of yours done today, so you do one for your homework. Hey, you got most of your rations. You got two of them down. You've only got a few more to go, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Doesn't look so daunting now, does it?
No, it doesn't look too bad.